guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing sourdough biscuits. I made some delicious chicken soup. You just have to try. And also we're going to talk about something that I saw on the internet was very disturbing. Right, in this pot is the chicken broth. I added some red onion, some carrots, celery, and potatoes. And they've been simmering now for about 30 or 40 minutes. I have these 2 chicken legs. They've been sitting here cooling. I'm gonna pull the meat off of the bone, and then we'll add it to the soup. Fall is right around the corner, and soup is one of those things that is so versatile. This chicken soup I can eat as a soup with a nice yummy sourdough biscuit on the side, and then thicken the broth. I could use it as a chicken pot pie filling. I could also thicken it and pour this recipe over rice. It is just so versatile. It's so nice to have the ability to create home cooked meals that are healthy and be versatile at the same time. One of the tricks that I use when I do serve chicken, I save all of the bones and put them in the freezer. I also will save any rotisserie chickens that we purchase from the store with all of the skin and the juices that come in the package. I keep them in the freezer, and then I will put them all together in one big pot and cook them until there's hardly anything left to get all of that bone broth. It's so healthy. I want to tell you, this recipe, I did not use any type of chicken flavoring or bouillon flavoring. It was straight from the bone. It was absolutely delicious. In this bowl, I have half of a cup of all-purpose flour and half of a cup of einkorn flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I put 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm gonna do 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. A 1/4 cup of, let me grab a nice spoon. I hate stirring with a little teeny little spoon. You know, baking is an art. It's an actual art. It's like chemistry. If you don't get it right, then you're gonna create something. Either you're gonna create something you like or something you don't like. Alright, so we're going to do 1/4 cup of butter, and then I'm going to mix that together. It said to use chilled butter, but I don't have chilled butter. All I have is this melted butter. So we're going to use it. It's okay. It's okay to deviate on little stuff like that. Alright, let's grab a fork. This is already melted really well. If I use my hands, it'll just melt more. So I'm just gonna use this little fork. Sorry about the dryer noise in the background. Getting ready for work. Let's see here. All right, we're getting close. All right, into the bowl, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of buttermilk. And we're gonna do a 1/4 cup of sourdough discard. My sourdough discard is a little more, I added more water to it this time than I did in past. So let's see if it's not too runny. It is pretty runny. We'll just see what happens when we do this. It's me and you together, we're gonna figure it out. All right. So I'm going to stir this together. We're going to get the dry incorporated into the wet, and then we'll take a look at the consistency. That's pretty good. It's a little bit moist, and that's because of my sourdough discard was a little wetter than normal. So let's get this off of here. So this to me is more almost like a drop biscuit. So I'm going to add a teensy bit more flour. All right, we're just going to add a little bit of flour. So I added my little pie mat that I use when I'm making pie crusts. You can see I don't have very much room in my kitchen to do these type of projects. I guess I could move everything out of the way and make room, but it's just so much work to clean everything off and move everything out of the way and then put everything back. So I'm just trying to cook in this tiny little space. Okay. Another thing is I don't want a great big huge amount of biscuits. It's just me. So I just want like 3 biscuits or 4 biscuits. I don't want a lot of biscuits. And so that's why the recipes that I'm breaking them down and making them small for just 1 person or 2 people. All right. So I'm going to smash this down to about a 1/2 inch. Perfect. Now I'm going to grab some butter. So I'm going to add some butter in between these layers here. I did find some chilled butter. Okay. Let's see. Let's go up a little more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over on top of itself. Oh, this is going to be so fun. All right, now let's grab us a knife. Okay, one thing about these mats. I left this mat, one of these mats, out on the counter. And not realizing that they saw this and they thought it was like a cutting mat. And so they used it as a cutting, to protect the counter, and totally ruined it. Ruined the mat. So if you have one of these, make sure that you don't leave it down. Make sure you put it up when you're done so that someone doesn't take a really sharp knife and use it on your mat. I learned my lesson. Does that seem like I'm being dangerous? All right, we're just gonna divide this up into 4 little biscuits. That one's a little bit a tiny one, but perfect for me. All right, let's get these in the pan. I wish you could smell this kitchen. The chicken soup smells amazing. Okay, this pan's got melted butter, and I put like a tablespoon of olive oil in there with it. One thing when you pull these pans out and they're super hot, always leave something right there so someone doesn't grab and get burnt. All right, let's get these biscuits on here. It's like a pie crust, flaky. The flavor is good. It's still pretty hot. Okay. Really good. I want to talk to you guys for a second. Yesterday evening, I finished talking, to my husband. We said goodnight, and I was just sitting in the chair, and I was flipping through reels, and I saw this reel. This kid's out in the ocean, and he's swimming, and then you see this shark fin come, and then all of a sudden you see red in the water, and the kid gets jerked under a little bit, and then he starts crying for help. And he's like, "Mom, please." And then he gets jerked under again. And then you see all these fish. And then the kid just disappears underwater. And the whole time, somebody's filming this. It's a female's voice. And she's like, "Oh, oh no, oh." And I lost it. Completely lost it. I started bawling. And then I started thinking about all the things that this kid is going through. And I started, to just be so depressed and so sad. And I was just weeping and weeping. And I'm like, I'm crazy. I don't even know this person. Why would somebody film this? And I was just so upset. And I called my husband and I told him what happened. And, he made me feel better. And then we hung up. And then I needed to get my kitchen clean and get in bed because I had to work today. So I'm cleaning my kitchen, and I'm just thinking about it, and I'm just thinking, whoever posted that, what a horrible thing. And then all of a sudden the Spirit spoke to me, and he said, "Stacy." He called me by name. "Stacy, think about it. Would you let your child be eaten by sharks and not do anything? Would you just sit there on the beach and go, oh?" And I got thinking about it, and I'm like, no, I would jump in that water. I would grab me a weapon or something, and I'd jump in, and I would go fight to the death to save my child. And then I got thinking about it, and I realized that there were things in the video that my eyes and my brain caught, that my emotional my emotional self did not catch up until after the Spirit spoke to me. I looked up at the amount of people that had liked the post, and there was over 1,000. You know, like it was like 1,600, and how many people shared it. And then I remember thinking while I was watching the video, man, how could you see that blood so quickly, so well from so far back, you know? Because usually in the ocean, I mean, you wouldn't see that. It was too far away. And why isn't anybody doing anything? They're just sitting there filming. And then I remembered all of the CGI and the AI stuff that they have now. They can create anything now. And I completely thought that that was a real video. And I know now that it was not a real video. Somebody had made that video. And I had wept. I was so sad. I just want you to guard yourself. Watch and protect yourself for the things that you're watching. And know that if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And don't believe everything that you see on the internet. What a blessing it was for me, for my Father to send the Holy Spirit and say, Stacy, think about it. So I want you guys to think about it. When you see things, you need to protect yourself. Also, a lot of these reels and things, I mean, you don't have to partake. You know, you can click to not see them. You can, if you see something, you know, that's too sexual, you see nakedness, you see something that you don't want to see, you are allowed to go in and click and say, no, I don't want to see this. And you can protect yourself that way as well. Gotta be so careful, especially if you have young children. There's so many things out there and you gotta be careful. This recipe that I posted this week, I've made the biscuits like 3 times. So if you see that all the steps don't match up, well, they don't match up. So they were delicious all 3 times. They were not stuck at all. They weren't burnt. And when you peeled them open, the bottom half was almost like eating this decadent, flaky, buttery, caramely, I shouldn't say caramel, it's not sweet. It's just delicious bite of biscuit, flaky, and so good with some melted butter. I tried it with melted butter. I tried it with butter and honey. I tried it with some jam. All of it's good. The top half, because you put the butter in the center and it just breaks apart so easily, is like almost eating like a soft, moist biscuit. The top half wasn't as flaky, more like a biscuit texture. It was absolutely delicious. I love acorn flour, and I've read a little bit about it being an ancient grain that is something that I need to incorporate in my life. I don't know if you can tell, I have like, my nose is stuffed. I don't have a cold. I don't have allergies. I really seriously believe I have mold. And I am so disappointed in the medical community in this area. I don't know if they don't want to get sued. I don't know if they are, you know, trying to protect themselves, or if they truly don't believe that someone can get mold inside the body. But I'm miserable, absolutely miserable. I am fatigued. I can't sleep. I've got this feeling in the back of my sinuses in my head, and it won't go away. Some days, if I roll over on one side, it'll clear out a little bit. But most of the time, I can't breathe through my nose. I have so many other symptoms. I've searched the internet. I finally got on YouTube and looked up mold videos. It's a thing. Medical people here in Oklahoma. Mold can, every time I mention it, I've had 3 doctors that I've mentioned, oh, I feel like I have mold. Because all of my testing, everything they did came back negative. Everything was negative. They did an EKG in my brain, nothing. They did a CT scan of my head and my neck, nothing. They did, and then that was all including all my sinuses and everything. They did an MRI, nothing. Then I had another doctor who did blood tests, and she checked for all kinds of like allergies. I read one thing on the list was that she tested for some sort of food allergy. Celiacs? No, I don't have any of that. And when you say to somebody in the medical field here, I think I have mold, this is what they do. Sorry, I had to flick an ad away. So this is what they do. They're like, hi, yes, my name's Stacy. I think I have mold in my head. So next visit, we'll see you in 3 months, and, come back and we'll just see how you're doing. They do not even entertain it for 1 second. They won't even, it doesn't even register in their brain that you said it. They skip right over it, just like a speed bump. And I think the reason is if you live in an apartment and you have mold, you find out in your body you have mold, if you do any type of testing, and they're like, yes, you have mold, then you can sue the apartment complex, whatever. They don't want to deal with this mold thing. Oklahoma, it's really moist here. It's really wet. There's all kinds of areas and places that mold can grow. All you got to do is just breathe it in. And, we've been working on that house. I could have got it at that house, but I really seriously believe I got it at my last apartment. When I walked into that apartment, I could smell something. I had just gotten over COVID a week before when I was in Vernal. Came here, I drove here, had an appointment to see this apartment. I walked in and I'm like, what is that smell? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. As soon as you get in here and start living, that smell will go away. Well, they just replaced the floors, a brand new linoleum floors throughout the whole apartment. So I'm thinking, oh, it's glue. No. It wasn't glue. That smell never went away. I never once felt comfortable or safe sleeping in the back bedroom. There was a wall. If I can find a video, I posted it on one of my reels. I hope it's still there. I will connect it to this video. As soon as it rains, water comes running down the wall so you can look at it. Not running, it pouring into the wall. And then in that bedroom, underneath the window, the wall is pressed out. It's all painted over. It's all nice and neat, but it's swollen. It's got water damage. They're hiding all of it underneath mud and paint. Everything I owned smelled terrible. 2 of my leather purses I had to throw away. Every single article of clothing, coats, sheets, pillowcases, everything we had to wash when we came to this apartment. We had to wash everything. I couldn't stand the smell. And the whole time I was there before my husband showed up, I would not sleep in that room. It felt weird anyways because he wasn't there. I didn't have a bed or anything. I was just using a mattress on the floor. So I just kind of set myself up in the living room. I slept better in that living room than I ever slept in that apartment, in the bedroom. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my every fiber in my being would be like, get out of this room. But I lived there and I couldn't just get out of the room. It was so bad that my husband and I sacrificed 2 months of rent. We paid both apartments 2 months of rent. Like we left there 2 months early and came here 2 months early, and we paid rent at both places for my health and my sanity, really. After that, everything just went downhill at work. I started getting vertigo really bad. And I know part of that was inner ear, going to Utah, hitting Snowbird, all of the up and downs of the altitude and stuff. So a lot of that's better. I don't have vertigo as much, but I'm still a little bit dizzy. And Hearts of Hearing, that's another place they sent me. Hearts of Hearing, they did 2.5 hours of testing. They tried everything. They did all kinds of, put me in the dark, spin me around in a chair, lay down, flip around. They did hearing tests. They did everything trying to figure out if they could find something that was wrong with me, and they couldn't find anything. So I got online, got some recipe. I'll link it in the goodie box down below, the recipe that I used, how I made it. If you get on YouTube, you can see there's all kinds of stuff, but I used frankincense and rosemary and tea tree, and I put them together in one of those nasal sprayers, and I've been snuffing it up my nose. I can breathe once I get that up there. And I have started taking some vitamins. I did a hair analysis through Trace Elements. I went over to Arbuckle Wellness. It's in Ardmore. It's over in the Thompson, what do they call it, shopping center. It's over by the jewelry store and veggies, and there's other stuff in there, but it's in that back corner. And they have all kinds of stuff in there. They have all kinds of, like there's a chiropractor in there. Anyways, I went to Carrie Rousey, and she cut a big chunk of my hair out and sent it to the lab. And I got all this testing back. And next video, I want to go over all the stuff that came back on my tests. I don't know, it's pretty interesting. They gave me a diet to start, and I'm, me and diets, slowly transitioning in. I had so much food in my fridge that I'm not supposed to be eating on that diet, and I just don't want to waste it, just like creamer and milk and cheese. And so I'm slowly getting those things out. I just ran out of creamer today, so I made myself some nut milk. I'm supposed to stay away from walnuts on my test. It said stay away from walnuts, and I'll explain all of the reasons why, because it says it right on the paper, and it tells you why they tell you what they're telling you. But I made some cashew milk, and I love cashew milk. It's so good, homemade. Anyways, so I'm using that, and I want to, I don't know if I asked you guys how you're doing on your caffeine. So I'm slowly transitioning off my caffeine, and I'm getting to where I'm almost ready to be done. Like, I've been slowly cutting back, and I should have never got on. Caffeine is it's one of those quick, fast, you pick-me-ups. It's terrible. It's terrible for your body. It's like a ball and chain. Once you get hooked on caffeine, it's so hard to get off. And you have flu-like symptoms when you don't get the amount of caffeine you're used to having. So you feel like, oh, I'm getting sick. I don't feel good. Oh, I'm achy. I don't feel good. Well, drink a Pepsi. You'll feel great after that. It's got tons of caffeine in it. So I want to be done. I want to be off. And I'm slowly getting there. I'm doing it in a way that, like, I don't want to, because I am susceptible to, like, migraine headaches. So I'm trying to do it in a way that it's not going to be so hard on my system. And so I'm just wondering how you guys are doing on it. Like, tell me have you thought about it at all? My challenge to, get off caffeine and to, not be addicted to it and having it make you a slave. I just want to thank you for watching my videos and spending this time with me. My husband's going to be back next week. Next week I fly to Utah, and gonna spend the week and celebrate a birthday and watch my grandson's baseball games. I'm so excited for all that kind of stuff I miss. A couple more years and then we'll see about retiring. But and then Michael's gonna come back with me, and we're gonna be start posting on the 1919 Graham Central. We're gonna start working on the house again, and I'm so excited for it. You know, when you take a break, we always need to take a break. You know, in the summer it's too hot to work here. It's just so extremely hot, and you do so much better if you have a break anyway. You get time to think about it and plans you want to make, and you start getting excited. It's almost like, you know, going all winter, and then you start thinking about what you're going to grow in your garden. You know, what seeds are you going to choose, and where you're going to put stuff. It's that type of excitement, which I'm really getting ready for. So anyways, I just want to thank you guys again. Subscribe, like, share. I hope you like those biscuits. They were so good. So good. All right, we'll see you guys next time. As always, keep going and keep growing. We have so many things we can learn.